Welcome to this early access review of Chinese Castle Crashers. Wonderblade! This side-scrolling brawler takes a lot of quote-unquote inspiration from Castle Crashers, but also adds new mechanics on top, so the end result is something fresh. Let's take a closer look. Wonderblade is developed by Puppet Depot Game Studio and published by East to West Games. It originally came out on iOS in 2018 and has now been released on Steam's Early Access. I played the version that was available on the 24th of September 2020. If you are watching this later, please note that this review might be outdated. Now, I have to start off by making the comparison to Castle Crashers. It's been years since I played it, but I went back for this review and played a few minutes of it just to see how it compared. And it was very similar. It's not just that they are both cartoony brawlers in a medieval setting. The opening is almost exactly the same, the enemies look eerily similar, the shop system is implemented the same way, and even the less happy Joshi makes a return in this game. And that's just for the 2 hours that I played. It's hard to define the exact border between plagiarism and inspiration, but I'm pretty sure Puppet Depot Game Studio might have crossed it. Having said that, they did add some new mechanics to the game to make it feel fresh. Imitation is the sincerest form of flattery and all that after all. Now, Wonderblade is pretty much your standard side-scrolling brawler. You are a guy whose sole purpose in life appears to be kick the living daylights out of other people, animals, and monsters. Your main weapon is your trusty sword, which is upgradable by picking up swords that enemies sometimes drop, or by buying them in a shop. Besides your standard attack, you also have a magic attack. You start out with just a simple fireball, but by leveling up you can upgrade your magic, which will increase the distance and allow you to unlock more powerful forms, such as summoning a rain of fire. By progressing through the story, you also unlock other abilities in magic. I, for instance, unlocked the whirlwind attack, which can trigger by holding down the attack button. I also found some ice magic skill, and once you unlock that, you can easily switch between the aforementioned fire skill and the newly acquired ice skill. While you're beating up baddies, you also gain experience points that you can either use to upgrade your main attack, HP, your magic attack, or your crit chance. You also have the ability to reset any of those points by paying some gold. Your gold can also be used to buy items and weapons at the various shops you encounter. There's also a pet system, but strangely enough, the pets are bought on the level select screen. Now, the style of the game is one of its strong suits. The colors are very bright, the animation is nice and crisp, and the combat feels good. Your attacks have a certain impact to them. Sometimes you do a small special attack where time slows down and that makes you feel super powerful. You are also able to dodge incoming attacks if you time it right, and you have a special finishing move that gives you a little animation and a one-button kill if you do it right. The music is well enough produced, and although it's not something I would listen to outside of the game, it's pleasant enough and fitting to the various levels. The combat balancing feels a bit off. When you start the game, you are quite weak, which means you are hitting enemies sometimes 50 times or more before they perish. This became a bit boring, and because of that, the first few levels feel a bit grindy. It also does not help that even if you level up, you can't spend the points immediately to make yourself stronger. You need to wait until the level is finished, and then in the menu you can upgrade yourself. After a few levels though, this effect became less apparent. You grow in strength a bit, and it made the game actually much more fun. I think the game could also really have benefited from some animation cancelling. Sometimes you are locked in an attack combo, and even though enemies choreograph their attacks with plenty of time, I often can't duck away because of the animation that is still happening. Now, my biggest problem with the game, however, is the lack of multiplayer support. I'm a huge fan of couch co-op games, and I had a lot of fun playing Castle Crashers with my friends back in the day. These type of games I generally just do not play solo. There's such an amazing library of AAA titles available that simpler games like these are shoved into the back of the queue. I really think this game could get a lot more play if multiplayer support would be added. Puppet Depot, if you're listening, please add it. So is it worth a buy for you? If you like brawlers, then yes, it's a good game. The mechanics are interesting, well executed, and the combat feels great. Now, for me personally, were it not for the review, I would not have bought it unless they added multiplayer support. Like I said before, there are simply so many great games out there that it feels wrong to play a simple old school brawler when I'm alone. As a party game though, I would be all over this, since it's just way more fun to kick gobbling asses while having a beer with your friends. Since the game is in early access, I have good hope that it's still coming. Wonderblade is available now on Steam for €5.60 or your regional equivalent. Thank you for watching, and until the next one. I see what you did there, Wonderblade.